Spokesperson for the Mahama campaign, joining us here in studio in flesh and blood. You can always share your thoughts and comments on 3FM 92.7. That's our social media page on X, on Facebook, and on Instagram. And also, you can join us later when we activate the phone lines. Ellen, what are your expectations? You have expectations of the interview.
Which interview?
What do you know of Beatrice?
What do I know? I know a lot. I follow Beatrice on the social. She doesn't follow back, but that's all right. That's okay.
Sorry, I'm going to do that right now.
Don't be blackmailed.
Don't be pressured at all.
No. I'm not, especially if it's on Twitter. I'm not so.
Yeah, Twitter is a landmine.
It's a landmine.
I'm learning to navigate my way around Twitter, even though I'm gaining a lot of followers. So pardon me.
Yes.
We the non-lawyers,
I'll shoot Beatrice a message on the socials, but I of course, because of the job, I follow a lot of the actors in the space. Unless Beatrice doesn't cough, then the comments
She's with the Mahama campaign. She wants John Mahama to be president of the Republic again. Beatrice, welcome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Johnny. As always, it's good to be here. And I don't normally do radio. So when I do radio, I'm happy about it. And it's good to be here.
Thank you. What kind of a person is Beatrice?
Oh, Johnny, I was wishing today would not be around me. But Beatrice is just an ordinary person. I don't think that I possess any special quality than any other Ghanaian. I just believe in one thing and I pursue it. I'm just that person that until I achieve a goal, I don't rest. So apart from being a workaholic, I think I like everything. I just don't like the fact that I'm a workaholic. But aside that, I like
everything.
Want
soft life.
Yeah. I wish I could take it cool on myself so that even if there is no work, I can sleep. But I won't sleep. I'll find another work to do. But apart from that, I think that I have a strong conviction. I remember that it took me 7 years to come out openly to speak for the NDC. And I am so fortified that I made the right decision if I look at the direction in which our country is going. And also because they've silenced many voices. And sometimes when you speak, they send the army after you to come and attack you, to insult you. But I have a skin tougher than Willie. It does nothing to me. I'm a guy.
Don't touch our Willie. Leave it for us.
I'm a guy. I'm a guy. I grew up in Ga, like a Ga community. So when you insult me, it does nothing to me. And if that's all the price you have to pay for speaking up and speaking your mind, I think that is a small price to pay. For women, is one insult. And so when you overcome that insult, then you are good to go. And it's not just because I speak for the NDC. I think that we have to have a politics where we will hold people accountable. If there is one thing the man I speak for, which is John Mahama, is noted for, is his ability to tolerate people who have been described as his worst critics. Sometimes we are not even happy he's speaking to them because we feel this person used very unprintable words and all that. But he has a bigger heart. And I think that's what leadership is about. That is missing in our country today. You cannot say the government is corrupt in the face of a data that shows that this is the most corrupt government. You cannot say that our democratic gains have dwindled down, even though the data shows it, government's own data. And then when you say it and you're a journalist, you are likely to face what Ahmed Swale or Kaka faced.
God forbid.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people, and I have a lot of friends in the media, they are not NDC, they are not MPP, but like every morning show, they want to fact check. Like when I came, I heard you people speak about the free SHS
numbers,
where government's own data shows that you've done 3.1 million. And then you're using 5 million for adverts, playing on the sentimentality of it. Many media houses cannot speak about it because they are afraid either of being branded NDC because you are calling government out, or they simply will just insult you if you're a woman. They will simply say that, oh, we know this girl is sleeping with someone. They did that to Bridget O2.
Right.
She's never been to London, but presidential staffers said they saw her in London being promiscuous, and yet this is a person who has never been to London.
Right.
And so if you don't want your spirit to be down, or your reputation to be damaged, you keep quiet about some of these things. But I want to tell us that we cannot have a democracy where we don't have strong voices.
Why is it that when Beatrice tweets something or types something on Facebook or says something on TV or radio, it catches fire? What do you put inside it?
I don't think it catches fire. I think that
everybody keeps talking about it. They keep asking you questions. Say, Beatrice,
no. I don't think it catches fire. I think that would be exaggerating my importance. I think that I speak the language of many young people. I'm 34 years.
Right.
I've had a lot of support systems. I've had a lot of privileges.
Right.
If I were in America, I probably would say I'm a white woman, because you would have been a privileged woman. And even in my privileges, I see my struggles.
Right.
And so I can just imagine the people who do not have access to the privileges I have. I have friends I went to school with who would always call you for money, not money to buy a car.
Right.
They want money to buy food for their babies. They want money because their car battery got spoiled and it's 700 and they cannot pay.
Right.
And these were people that some were even more intelligent than me.
Right.
And so if we live in the system where it's not based on meritocracy, you have to speak the language of the people. And because I speak maybe the social media language, or I speak about the plight of many people, it just happened to be that you speak my mind, because there are many people who want to say something and they can't say.
Right.
And when we are coming on air, they send us, B, can you say this? B, I work in this organization and this is happening. Can you speak about it? So we just happen to voice what people want to say,
sentiments of the ordinary,
but they don't want to say. But I don't think that it's because it catches fire. And when you speak in a certain way and you capture the mood and sentiments of people, they would accept what you say, because then that is the truth.
For you as a woman who is also a politician, you are an accomplished lawyer, people respect your voice and look at you. For other women, what motivation is there for them to get into politics? When you first decided that, okay, this is what I want to do beyond my law practice, what motivation is there?
I think what many people didn't know is that I was a politician from the age of 18 years.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, like I think that just because I came on TV, everybody made it look like, oh, you just came something years ago.
She's new to the craft.
No. I've been so political from the age of 18 years. In fact, even before 18, because that was when I started discovering my political consciousness.
Right.
And so even on KNUST campus, I occupied a number of political positions.
Right.
I was Speaker of SRC Parliamentary Council.
Right.
I was Majority Leader of Student Parliament.
Right.
I was the Chief Justice of the University Student Association.
Right.
And then I was a teen, and I was even an NDC communicator back on campus.
Okay.
You know, but I had to take a break from politics and build a career, and build a family, and come back when I felt it was the right time, because I've been there before, and I know the challenges women face if they came to do politics with just first degree, or just because they want to do politics. So I wanted to build capacity before I come onto the scene. And that's exactly what I did. So I've been around for some time. I'm not new at all. So those who know me,
looks like you're new.
No, yes, it feels like I'm new, because then everybody woke up one morning and there was this girl who would not mince words,
who would not let anybody sleep,
and would say the way
straight.
And that's my upbringing. I don't know why you're stealing my resources. You're depriving mothers of the ability to have the right to life because you don't build hospitals. And we are going through hardship. And you say that we have to use euphemism to express our hardship. And you are not euphemistic about the corruption. And you're not trying to steal in a metaphorical way. You're stealing literally. And then you expect us to use metaphors and euphemism to express. I don't believe in that. I don't believe you should insult, but I believe that you need to communicate the mood, the passion, the anger. You have been doing some advocacy against Dr. Bonaventure Alekebam. And look at how long it took you. And yesterday I saw a news outlet that you can imagine if you said it once, twice, it would not look like it will work. And sometimes
he didn't respect the president.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it looked like it can be boring. And sometimes it feels like, what exactly does Johnny have against this man?
Right.
But today, I saw a video of people saying they thank you so much.
Yeah.
How on earth were these guys supposed to reach a radio station to talk about this person who was more like a tyrant in the organization? And I'm sure people may call you names. I'm sure people may have vilified you.
I have felt it. Helen Carr has gone through some.
Yeah. So, so today you have made an impact. And you see, you cannot fight on the battlefield and not come back with a scar.
Right.
And so there has to be a scar. Beatrice is that girl, and they'll give you all the tag.
Right.
And everybody who has led advocacy has been given a name. And when you're a woman, they are more intolerant. There are things that they will accept because men said it. I mean, men can say certain things and get away. When you're a woman and you say it means you're very disrespectful. And I see some of the comments, nobody will marry you.
But you're already married.
But they don't know that. They don't know that, And even sometimes, I'm sure my husband's friends will call him and say, but this girl, how do you control her?
How do you handle her at home?
Yeah, my husband has a touch of foreign, so he doesn't do this. You're African.
Your local stuff.
You're African, I'm a man, I'm a woman.
No.
My house.
He ain't gonna do that.
My husband. And it was a rule that you had to have a foreign touch before I'll marry you.
Right. Oh, you had respect.
Yeah, because it gives you a certain level of exposure to know that it's okay for your wife to leave home at dawn and come to TV, and there will be no friction at home.
Right.
I mean, when my mommy comes to visit me and we are talking, when my husband says we are hungry, he's the first to suggest a restaurant because he knows that nobody has the time to cook.
No.
But half of the men will say they don't even want a day-old food and all that. So the challenges
we have to read.
Yeah.
And prepare brief.
Yeah.
Slow down.
And normally I recommend a certain book, Lean In, to every career woman before you marry.
Right. It's called what? Lean In?
Yes, by
who?
Sheryl Sandberg.
Okay.
She's the CEO of Facebook.
Right.
And
Helen, before you get married.
Yeah. It's a master recommended read so that it gives you perspective about if you're a strong woman and some of the decisions and some of the hard conversations you must have. But the point is that whether you are a woman or you are a man, when the economy is bad, it affects you.
Right.
And it affects women even more.
Right.
Johnny, I keep saying that husbands are really suffering in this economy. And the ripple effect is that even wives and baby mamas and sisters will suffer more because when I don't have money, I'll be so embarrassed to come and ask Ellen for money.
Right.
Because then I'm afraid, what will she say? Will she question my husband's ability to take care of me? And probably she'll go and tell another friend and all. But guys have a way of saying, Charlie, today I don't get anything.
Yeah, Charlie,
sort me out. Now, Charlie, myself, I get like 50 Ghana. I will give you 30 Ghana.
Yeah.
And for some reasons, it's no news.
That's right.
When a guy says, Charlie, could you call me, say, get money? Make we organize something, give them.
Right.
Brother code, although you use it for the bad thing.
But
women and children suffer so much.
Right.
And when we talk about the hardship in this economy going into these elections, it's not just an MPP NDC issue.
Right.
Like I say, maybe I'm privileged, but I remember my iPhone 12 Pro Max was bought for me by a friend who is an engineer.
Right.
I mean, he called me a number of times, I didn't pick. So to give him an excuse, I said my phone was giving me an issue. And then the next day, he just sent me a phone. 2 weeks ago, I was there, and this friend kept checking up on me like every morning, and it was a bit weird because we hardly talk.
Right.
Only for him to come and ask me for 1,000 cedis.
Oh, Charlie.
After 3 days of constantly checking up on me, because the kids have not been able to go to school.
He was down.
He was down. This was someone who bought me the iPhone 12.
Oh.
When I didn't even ask for. This is someone who had a growing. I mean, these guys speak in dollars.
Right. And now he wanted 1,000
sometimes when you're speaking to him and you say, oh, the 100,000, and you say, okay, so in dollars, because of how they do their work.
Right.
And he wanted 1,000 cedis. Why?
Not $1,000.
No, 1,000 cedis.
To survive.
Yes, because that and I felt so devastated because then it made sense that he was checking up on me like every morning, like he wanted to ask, but he didn't have the courage.
Right.
And I could never contemplate that he will ask me for money.
Because he bought you a phone when you didn't ask for it.
So I didn't ask for it. The next day, I was there and a dispatch rider called me that they said they should bring me a phone. And later, he called me, have you received the phone? And I even laughed over it. So this was someone, why? Because he lost his savings to the banking sector cleanup. And his own was even like double jeopardy. When he lost the savings to the banking sector cleanup, he was told that whatever monies will be given to him will be given to him as the bond.
Right. Zero coupon.
The zero coupon. So he got the bond. And when it was time for them to pay, and then the haircut came.
The DDEP.
The DDEP. Then
But the president said there will be no haircuts.
Exactly.
Was so there haircut? Were there haircuts?
There were haircuts, and they are still haircuts. Yesterday, I was on your sister station, Onya FM, and a woman had come and needed 100,000 for a surgery because the child was suffering from leukemia. By reason of the exchange rate depreciation, what would have been 400,000 is now 1.7 million. The hospitals have not increased their prices.
It's the exchange rate.
It's the exchange rate. And so even though they said they had raised about 100 and something thousand, from 1.7 million, it means nothing. And Johnny, when we speak about this, we ought to talk about this, whether it is MPP or NDC in power. Because it has a direct effect on our lives, our livelihoods, our families, our young people. Johnny, it is an eyesore that unemployment will move from 8%, which we arguably was not even good, to 14.7%, with over 1.7 million people being multidimensionally poor.
Helen Stagline.
You know, when someone is multidimensionally poor, we are not looking at whether they have money to buy food. We are saying poor. That when we take every aspect of your life, you cannot be described as someone who is okay. And even despite that statistics, we are being told that 850,000 people who were not poor, who were okay, have been pushed down the poverty line because of the bad policies of this government. Tell me why anybody should keep such a government in power for 12 years, irrespective of whether you are MPP or NDC.
So you are against breaking the 8?
We must all be against that breaking the 8.
Why?
I'm just giving you an example.
You're giving me two examples, but why? What do you have against the NPP?
I don't have anything against the NPP. The NPP has not demonstrated that they love Ghana. Johnny, let me give you a typical example. This presidency has been occupied by President Rawlings, President Kufuor, President Mills, President Mahama. So in the Fourth Republic, this MPP government is not the first government for us to use as a benchmark. And every government has had its excesses. But we are at a level where we have never seen before. These are not excesses. These are calculated attempts to hoodwink this nation, make people so poor, make the NPP so rich, so that every election will be decided on the basis of who can pay more. So it is in their interest that food inflation is so high. In 2022, food inflation was more than 55%.
Right.
Food inflation, your ability to purchase food. And so you are so hungry that when a political party brings you 500 cedis, you can see yourself in 1 week buying some decent meal to eat.
Right.
And so nothing matters to you again than the meal you see in the next 1 week, coming from where you are coming from in hunger. And so if you have a psychology of a party that increases office of government expenditure from a little over 700 million to in excess of 2.5 billion, almost 3 billion in some of the years, then you begin to ask, is everything right with us?
I wanted to just chip this in because we were talking about stats, and Afrobarometer's Round 10 survey indicates that in the past 12 months, 8 in 10 Ghanaians, that's 82%, have experienced some degree of poverty. So nearly pretty much all of us this year alone would have experienced some degree of poverty.
Beatrice,
You know,
yeah,
and
go ahead.
they went a day without food. They were not fasting. They are not Muslims.
It's against their will.
It's that
they wanted to eat, but they
Johnny,
couldn't afford
those of
food
us
to
who
eat.
are in the public space,
Right.
people don't know us on a personal basis. But by reason of maybe you are on a WhatsApp page or they meet you and they say they want your number, when you wake up in the morning, the messages you receive from people who need 100 cedis.
Do you know the main gate at TV3?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how many people come through it to ask me for money?
Yes.
Every day.
Because they assume
Hospital
that
bills,
because
school
you
fees.
are on air and you speak,
But my
you
salary
probably
has
are,
not changed.
You probably are looking nice, you know.
But my
so-
salary has not changed.
No, but they compare themselves to you, that at least you were able to pick a car. Sometimes people will say, oh, they need this. And even for them to come and pick, you have to bear their transportation costs.
They need it urgently too.
Even, yes, it's always urgent. You know, we live in a country where, you know, in the past, when people are complaining, you see government's response.
Right.
You see that either government is holding a cabinet meeting or there is what in NDC we call the Senchi consensus,
Right.
or President Kufuor saying that I'm going on a retreat with ministers, or you see a minister traveling somewhere to see, you know, there is this attempt to salvage the situation.
So you don't like the government dancing to Sisifia?
They don't even appreciate the nuances. You see, Dr. Bawumia says that it is better for the exchange rate to be $1 to 17 cedis than $1 to 4 cedis. How?
I don't understand.
He said they've done better on the economy.
That's right.
So that is what he's implying. It is better for the unemployment rate to be 14% than 8%. It is better for inflation to move from 54% at a point to 22 than 15%. So how do you expect this person, first of all, to appreciate there is a crisis? For which reason we need to call for a meeting so that we can solve it. That it is okay that we've not been able to build a single hospital in 8 years. And when I talk about hospital, I say that so passionately with everything in me because my sister was born at the Labadi Clinic.
Right.
But for the Labadi Clinic, because we stayed in Nwa, La Polyclinic.
Right. It's actually the La General Hospital.
Yes,
Upgraded at some point,
the La General Hospital.
It used to be Polyclinic,
It's
but
true,
upgraded to
La General Hospital.
Right.
So we stayed in Nwa. So my mother said when she had she was in labor, it was the nearest hospital. And it serves the people of Teshin, Nwa, Osu, Labadi. But for that hospital, I will probably not have a sister. My sister, in recent times, also developed something and had surgery at Ridge.
Okay. That's Accra Regional Hospital.
Accra Regional Hospital.
The refurbished one.
Yes. So you can imagine if there was no La General Hospital, she would not even have had her life. If somebody had not built the Ridge Hospital, UGMC, when the ministers in this government had COVID, They were so embarrassed that they could not even admit they were going to the hospital. They had to say they had to go for leave. Who takes a leave? Who rests in the hospital?
So said it was resting. What do you have against rest?
No, it tells you, but which same person goes to the hospital to rest? Then the minister should. In fact, it is even worse, because when sick people don't get access to bed, you leave your home to go and rest in the hospital. It tells you the psychology of the people who were in charge of health. And this government having access to 21 billion cedis because we had COVID does not have a single hospital in memory of the COVID that took the lives of people. Today, they are running adverts, playing worship songs in the background, getting people to be emotional because of COVID. And yet those emotions could not compel you. We had to rely on the Maritime Hospital, the Bank of Ghana Hospital, the Ghanese Hospital, the Dodowa Hospital, the Rich Hospital, the UGMC. Those were the hospitals that saved us because the NDC did.
But you have applications, you have apps. A lot of COVID apps, COVID
it looks like, Johnny,
app.
you want to make me angry.
No, I'm not. I mean, I'm just telling you what the government says they have done for you. You don't seem to see anything the government has done.
Do you know the number of people who have built apps?
I don't know. But the government
lots
says
of people have built.
Dr. Digital has built apps for you.
No serious government built apps. And you know the apps they are even talking about, it's not even apps built by government. They are apps which have been built by private organizations. So for instance, when they tell you that we have digitalized ECG, the contract is for Haptel. The Haptel, we are told, Baumia is behind. So it's not as if government of Ghana has taken the initiative to build. So we are rather creating jobs for their cronies. That today, when you buy ECG, a percentage goes to a company called Haptel that Baumia is a beneficiary of. So where is the digitalization? The MPP, you know what they are doing? They are gaslighting. Their consultants have told them that keep repeating the lie so much. No matter how you are fact-checked, repeated with time, people may think it is true. Or not
that's a Joseph Goebbels principle.
Yes, or not everybody will be privy to the truth. So you keep telling the lies because the lies will travel faster than the truth. Otherwise, in an election year, where this government wants to have 12 years, what they have to be doing is to be showing us their successes.
But you saw the statute, didn't you see the statute?
The statute is their success.
Didn't you see? You have seen other things.
You know, as for the statute, I don't even want to talk about
interchange.
it. The only thing that is nicer about the statute is that it's Tola Lananado.
Please.
So that one is very nice. I mean, so that one, the sculpture did very well, you know, to not reduce it to its height. And I'm sure that even because of the height, that's why they finished the statute. Because in the Western region, the only completed project is that statute. It's an eyesore that the Efian Kwanta Hospital has not received an upgrade. President Mahama invested $247 million in medical replacement. At the time he was doing all these, and he was on a mission of building a 6,000-bed hospital across the 10 regions then. You know what Dr. Baumia said?
No.
He said, given the resources at the disposal of the NDC government, we will build a Dubai medical city.
What do you have against that?
Where is it? What were the resources at the disposal of the NDC? That from Nkrumah's time to President Mahama's time, the national debt was 120 billion. Assuming even all the 120 billion was borrowed by the NDC, that was the resources at the disposal of the government. At the time when I've mentioned to you the monumental achievement in the area of health alone, today you have zilch hospital to show for. Zilch, zero.
But government is building Agenda 111.
Where?
They say by the end of the month, some will be launched, some will be commissioned.
Now you know, when you commission, you know, this your building can be converted into a hospital, and it can be converted into a studio, So when you build a building and you leave, is that a hospital?
There's nothing in there. That's what I said.
If you are committed to building hospitals and you really wanted to enjoy, or the people to enjoy, why don't you build 10? Finish. or even if it was 20, and you are able to finish 10, and 10 was still under, then we know that you intended that people should indeed have access to hospital. What government wanted to do was to give communication or communicators speaking points. When they come on your show, they should be able to say, oh, we are building Agenda 111. Look at Pualugu. Pay $12 million so that it will be like, oh, we are constructing Pualugu Dam.
But that was for the consultant to do.
But that is it is a speaking point. So where is the consultant? How is it that a government invests 932 million cedis in digging a hole, $58 million?
Are you talking about the National Cathedral?
Yes, it's a matter of priority.
It's a priority of priorities.
So where is it?
But we are building it. Can't you see it?
Where?
Can't you see it?
The fish pond.
It's not a fish pond.
When I see sarcasm, I detect one. You're being sarcastic.
I'm not being sarcastic. I'm saying the president,
Johnny, the situation.
He says we will build the National Cathedral to honor God.
The situation we are in is not NDC MPP. You know, sometimes when you read the Japadia document, you would know that this government is on a mission to enrich family and friends.
The president said it's fake. If you support it, you hate them.
Would he?
The Ocheng said same.
Would he admit us? So it's very prophetic. If it's fake, everything. You see, this president, and you know, Bawumia will be worse than Nanado.
Oh, how?
See, this president believes in family and friends. He has not, hidden it. He has given the daughter a $34 million contract. The missing fuel at Bust, the daughter was the one behind Moving Pina. That name was, the daughter was at Moving Pick. She's called Edwina. So Moving Pick and Edwina came Moving Pina.
I see.
That's how the name was formed. They met at Moving Pick. So Moving Pick and Edwina, Moving Pina.
Whoa.
That's how it was formed. So that is how they shared the state's resources. But the danger is even in Bawumia's fake humility that he's giving to Ghanaians. Do you know that Dr. Bawumia, even as vice president, when he told us that he was not given the room to operate, that he is not responsible for any of the mess, that as for him, he was only a driver's mate, so we should not blame him. Do you know that he has used your state's resources to settle his family and to pay a kontasekai?
Oh, I don't understand.
Bawumia's father-in-law is the ambassador to UAE.
Yes.
Yes, Samira's father.
Mr. Ramadan.
So he's using it to tear Akonta A.
Oh, but he has already married them.
Yes, so as you can afford, the assume
so
must
he's
get.
Oiling the.
Yes, as you must get. I hope the first wife's father also gets something.
But Dr. Bab has only one wife.
And he has left Ramatu.
I don't know.
I thought he's Muslim, so he can marry two.
Oh, Beatrice.
Oh, you know the speaker was the one who mentioned Ramatu.
But then I didn't
if they are divorced, then that's fine. Then that one I will not talk about.
I'm not saying they have, but I'm saying that why was it mentioned in the first place? We all know Hajiya Samira Bawumia.
Yes, and what's wrong if he has two wives? There is nothing wrong if he has two wives. He's a Muslim. He's entitled to 4.
So he has 2 wives.
I know Ramatu, but if they have divorced, then that's okay. But Samira's brother, Abu Ramadan, is the NADMO boss.
There is a deputy director
director of NADMO.
Director General.
Of NADMO.
Right.
Whatever the title is at NADMO. Then Bawumia's brother, technical advisor
to
Ministry of Finance. One of the ministries.
Right.
Recently, all the procurement at the armed forces that Son of Man Okujato did an expose on. Bawumia's brother, I've forgotten he's something Bawumia.
Right.
Sole source, everything. So the man tells you that as head of the economic management team, I could not be given the opportunity to make the economy better. That I failed woefully because I was not given the opportunity. But some way, somehow, he had the opportunity to appoint his families and in-laws into position, even as vice. Look at the number. When he becomes president, I'm sure other people will get, Nanado has given the baby mama ambassadorial position. Virginia Hesse.
Miss.
Yes. So that is the psychology. She's, I think, she's one of the ambassadors to whether I've forgotten the country.
She's an ambassador.
Yes. Baby mama.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So you can imagine baby mamas, side chicks, and everybody. It tells you the psychology of the. I'm making this point. It's a serious point I'm making. That it tells you the psychology of the people who are leading us. It tells you that when they have the opportunity to make a decision, they don't think about you and I.
What kind of a person is John Mahama?
John Mahama, you see, the benefits we have in this election is that John Mahama is not a new person. Where you will say that, oh, but how can we tell if John Mahama will not also exercise restraint?
Right, but the opposition says the NDC is scary. The alternative is scary.
You see, the alternative is scary to those who have stashed dollars under their bed. Because this time, we are bringing what we call the Operation Recover or Loot.
Hey.
People must carry cash and refund to government. They must show their properties and it will be sold to defray the cost of corruption.
Hey.
Johnny, we've been in this country and corruption has been with us before. See, when the Auditor General reports come, annual irregularities,
right. Payment
700
irregularities,
and something.
Procurement irregularities.
Procurement, some you surcharge, you refund 700 and something million, and we say it is bad, and we spoke about it. And Occupy Ghana held appendages of MPP people spoke about it today. In 1 year, irregularities 12 billion. 1 year, 12 billion. We've never seen it before.
That's 2021.
You can criticize John Mahama for everything, but you did not see these reckless levels of corruption. These guys have been so empowered because of their corruption that they believe they can buy anybody, including men of God. Conscience is no longer a guide. Even under Rawlings, you did not see people clamoring for constitutional review because there were what we call fetters, constitutionalism, that you have to exercise limits of government. Today, it is no longer unconscionable to appoint party card-bearing members onto the Supreme Court, onto the High Court. It is no longer unconscionable and frowned upon that party communicators will become commissioners at the EC. We don't have limitations and fetters again.
Are you disappointed in Nanado?
To say I'm disappointed is because I cannot find the expression. Nanado epitomizes the word disappointment.
Hey.
He epitomizes, he's synonymous to who a leader should not be. Nanado is everything any leader should not be. Bawumia is everything we should not be. See, recently, in fact, it was just yesterday that Joy FM fact-checked Bawumia about one, the free SHS, and two,
in fact, it was fact-check Ghana. We just spoke with Kweku Asante Krobia, who said that.
Yeah, fact-check Ghana, fact-check the free SHS, and Joy fact-check the Ghana reaching the SDG.
That's right.
On zero.
That's right.
Hunger. You see, when you are a leader, because you are not a party foot soldier or just an ordinary person, you must possess some qualities. One, honesty. Being candid. When I come on your show and I come and lie about everything, the day you discover I'm a liar, you have every obligation not to trust me again. But Dr. Bawumia consistently has been lying to the people. And you know, for someone who wants to be a president, it should matter. I mean, it should matter what you say. Dr. Bawumia can get to a place. He looks around, the people say they want a river. He doesn't know whether it can be done or not. Then you say, oh, we will build rivers. Don't worry. That's what you need.
But how can you be
Let me tell you, in 2016 when he was campaigning, he was a deputy governor of Bank of Ghana.
Right.
He said he had mastered a PhD in economics.
Right.
So he understood economics than any of the people who were. In fact, as on Nanado, on this one, you have to give it to him. He said he made a third class in economics when he went to school. So he's a bad student of economics. So he was bringing him as an economist to come and assist. Look at the statements he was making. That I have worked at the Bank of Ghana before. We don't need to borrow to construct the roads. And yet under him, he has added more than 640 billion to the national debt. Is it someone you can trust?
So
and today, He says that it is more responsible to borrow 640 billion with nothing to show than to have a national debt of 120 billion. He says that in 2017 that he had attended a certain cabinet meeting and they had agreed that all roads subsequently will be concrete roads.
Right.
So it means that cabinet meeting didn't take place.
He made that announcement in church.
In church, Lighthouse Chapel.
Right.
So integrity doesn't matter. And apart from the litany of things I can say, like there will be no community without toilet and water problem, and in AIDS, all those bragging and things he said that he lied about. One crucial thing that I want listeners to reject Bawumia on is the issue of jobs.
But he was not in charge, was he?
He said he has created jobs.
Yeah, 2 million jobs.
2.6 million.
Well, what's your problem?
So let me show you. You see, if Bawumia was any serious leader, and they really mean well for this country, I think the NDC, we take governance very serious, maybe too serious. And he means well for this country. The national security reports, which they themselves have, show that our greatest threat to stability is unemployment. Even the polls conducted by Fitch, EIU, and everything is showing that unemployment is number one on the list for voters. So if you're a leader, that should be what will concern you. In fact, it is that research and data that is driving two policies of the NDC.
Which
the 24-hour economy.
But
and
they
the
say you can't even explain the 24-hour economy.
But the man said the thing is happening. So the explanation is whatever is happening, that is it.
But they say you can't explain.
No, but I'm telling you that he said the thing is happening.
What is the 24-hour economy?
I'll come there. I will explain.
We are there now.
Yes, I'll come there. But I'm making a point that if you have a national security report on jobs, it means that you should take jobs very seriously.
That's correct.
But Dr. Bawumia is lying about the data on job. Let me prove it to you.
2.6 million
jobs. Let me prove it to you.
Prove.
In February 2021, when the Minister of Employment, the man responsible for giving the data to Bawumia on jobs, went before Parliament, he said they had created 3 million jobs.
Right.
In 2022, he then said that they had created 5.2 million jobs. In 2024, Bawumia told us that they had created 2.2 million jobs. Then at the UPSA program, he said 2.1. In recent times, he has jumped to 2.6. When the technical advisor, Dr. Ganiyu, on TV3 was asked, what is the source of this 2.6 million jobs? He said he doesn't know. The Ministry of Finance, that is supposed to be paying the salaries if jobs have been created. The Ministry of Finance, that is supposed to have data on all economic issues in this country. They say that they cannot tell the source of the data. Right. He, Bawumia himself, cannot tell. None of the communicators have been able to tell. So you know what? They are just throwing out figures. Throwing out figures to people. So if you have created jobs, Johnny, how is it that unemployment has moved from 8.4% to 14.7%?
But people say they can't trust John Mahama because he had said earlier that he's a dead goat. I confirm he's flying out of the country. Why should the country be handed over to John Mahama again?
Your votes makes a difference.
Okay.
Do not listen to the MPP who wants to paint John Mahama black because they want to remain in power. Any reasonable minds know that a confirm cannot fly.
Oh.
A confirm is not a migratory bird. It cannot fly. It's like saying that chicken can fly from one place to the other. So know that was a first lie, that the MPP hide their own people and their own journalists to be spewing against President Mahama. And because President Mahama is not like Nanado, who will go and kill a journalist or ask people or President Mahama did not create the enabling environment for journalists to be killed. Let me rephrase it that way. Because they criticized him. People spewed all sorts of, excuse me to say, nonsense about him. And one of this is the lie. No, in fact, Manasseh Azuri, who did the story, has come out to say that that was a lie. It was never captured. And that point has to be made. You know, when President Mahama said he was not a dead goat,
right.
You know, the MPP, I think they have a comprehension problem. During elections, people wanted President Mahama to print monies. In 2016, print money like the MPP is printing and satisfy everybody. So that if Labour says that we need increment, BOG just print money, we've paid. And that is what the MPP has been doing, even from 2020. And so they've printed in excess of 77 billion cedis. The BOG has been running at a constant loss. The BOG is the only organization that keeps money. They say they don't trade, but some way somehow they make losses. So President Mahama refused to do that and said that I don't want to push my people into a haircut where I will just print money, over borrow, and because it's election year, just satisfy them, bring in populist policies, and after election, you will have to put, a moratorium on paying bondholders. He didn't want to do that.
Have you seen the NDC and MPP campaigns? Can you compare the two?
I can compare the two.
You've seen Jamagun to me and the rest. They are happy. They have all the artists. Everybody.
I have been everywhere with President Mahama, except today that I'm not in the Western.
And what has been happening?
We have been going to the people in the community. No single person is buzzed. When the community hears President Mahama is coming here on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, they go there by themselves.
You don't bus anybody.
Where we don't have that resource. We don't bus. What?
Are you suggesting that the MPP buses people?
Yes. If you go to the north, it's called Susu campaign. You know Susu campaign?
I know Susu, but I don't know Susu campaign. They bus
people from different locations.
Okay.
So if they are doing 4 constituencies in the day, they take the same crowd from
Tamale Central to Tamale North to Tamale South.
So the buses are there. They take to
Sanarigu.
They say Susu.
Okay.
So they say from morning to evening you'll be in your bus.
Are they paid?
Yes, they are paid. In Volta region, for instance, they gave them T-shirts and 500 cedis. So when they come, they bus you the whole day. You go to North Dai, South Dai, when they are done, it's by day. So you see some of the videos on even TikTok. People say, "Oh, we are wearing the shirt, so Charlie, 500 is by day."
But you don't bus people.
How would we bus people? And that is why it is very organic, and that is why I'm very hopeful and optimistic. The Ghanaian people, come 7 December, will make the right decision.
This women banking thing, what is it about? We've heard it before.
I'm very happy about.
What is it?
The Women's Development Bank is a special initiative calculated to empower only women. You know that normally when you go to the traditional banks to borrow, they'll ask you for a collateral. They'll ask you for a collateral of either a house or a car or something very valuable that if you fail to pay the debt, they will fall on. And it's not just the collateral. Because of the bad management of this government, interest rate ranges between 35 to 40%. Johnny, what work would you do that you will get even the 40% profits before you can pay the interest? And when you look at the informal sector, from Makola to Ketia to Kotokraba to Takrade to Aflao and all that, women are those who control the informal sector.
Right.
So this is a research-based policy calculated to reduce interest rates at the barest minimum for women and women-led businesses. So the business will either be owned by a woman or be led by a woman, and you will qualify. And the beautiful thing about this is that only women will work in the Women's Development Bank. Because I keep saying that when you are in labor or you have a breast pain, no man can understand it except your fellow woman.
Right.
When you are menstruating and you have crumbs, it is only your fellow woman who can understand. So when it comes to the vicissitudes and the special challenges of women, women better appreciate the needs of their fellow woman than a man. And I watched your community manifesto on your sister station, and one woman came and said something which I didn't even think about.
We are in Tema Central this morning.
Yeah, she said that.
It be bright.
Oh, I see. She said that the reason I like the women's bank is that I'm told only women will work there.
Oh, okay.
And when I go there and my fellow woman speaks to me in a way I don't like, I will speak back to her. Because as for the men, because they wear their coats and things, when we get there, we are intimidated.
Right.
So it tells you that even at first instance, you are removing the barrier of women not being able to walk into a financial institution to access facility. Because I never knew about this social barrier.
What do you say to those who say that, look, John Mahama has only one term left. If he comes in, he will be reckless. He doesn't have to come back to apologize, look for a vote.
You know, America is described as the world leader.
Right.
And when you are a president of America, you are the president of the free world.
Right.
And not just America, and not just America, but the world.
Right.
Donald Trump has only 4 years. Because I was in America at the time Donald and Biden had the first debate.
Right.
And everywhere you go, you realize that it was about the economy. And so if they compared the Trump economy to the Biden economy, despite the excesses they had with Donald, it was about the bread and butter issue. What we have is the economy. And if you compare a 4 cedi to $1 to a 17 cedi to $1, it's about the economy. And President Mahama was president for 4 years, and that is the result. If you compare the rate of unemployment, if you compare the hospitals, if you compare the fact that President Mahama developed this nation within 4 years, that at a point the MPP mocked him as Commissioner General. If you remember 2016,
I remember that.
They were calling him Commissioner General. Why? Because every region he went, there were money. These were not district assembly projects. These were central banks. And Johnny, let me say that I've been to all 276 constituencies, including Guam. For every community and constituency we have been to, I say this with pride, hitting my chest, that from their electricity, it was the doing of the NDC, to their schools, to their hospitals or CHIPS compound, to the water they have, even if they were boreholes or small town water system. In fact, in one of the communities we went in the north, the chief said something, that if you take this, our community, and you take out the NDC, we go back to creation.
But the MPP says you couldn't keep the power on, and industries collapse. Electricity,
you see, the MPP, they are not truthful. Do you recall that when the MPP came to power, one of the major things they kept saying and blaming President Mahama for was too much power, excess capacity.
Right. But
if you remember,
but there was Doomsaw under you.
Which Doomsaw?
Oh, you have worked at IES. There was Doomsaw.
Admittedly, nobody is running away. You see, that is the difference between President Mahama and this government. When President Mahama realized that this was something that was happening from 1980 something, before I was born, he could have gone for the generators, the toy generators like Ufo did, and just power, because elections were coming, be managing the thing. But he went to Parliament and said, I take full responsibility, because if the people of Ghana are experiencing this under me, what did he do? He brought in Ameri, Car Power, AXA, Asogli Phase 2, and added in excess of 2,500 megawatts to our national generation capacity, taking into account even population growth. He did not even just do that. He left a revenue handle called the ESLA, so that we can solve the the issues of the financial management in the power sector. When the MPP came, they said, you know what? Even though you ended Doomsaw, you have given us too much power, and they came excess power. They have not been able to manage the energy sector, because truthfully, there is nobody in MPP, if you take Amin Anta out, who understands the energy sector. But where is he? He said when the judge said, but is he part of government? He has been ostracized long ago. Which person understands energy?
Dr. Opoku Prempeh didn't understand energy.
I don't want to say
Napo, vice president, energy minister. He didn't understand.
You people were exact. You know, Ghana, when a man is tall and thick, they assume he's intelligent.
Oh.
That is the problem. Otherwise, we must. What did he do? Napo was the one who said that he was even going to negotiate additional take or pay power plants. How is it that an energy minister will tell us that we have excess capacity, but we want to add on plant today? The MPP is saying that the one who brought Ameri on a BOT basis, that today Ameri has become the property of Ghana, that person should not be celebrated. But the one who relocated Ameri from the western region to Ashanti region is the hero.
But Dr. Bawumia says, look, all these things you have spoken about, Beatrice, in wrapping up, give me an opportunity. When I come, I'll right the wrongs. I will bring a new lease of life and new things. Listen to the man.
So let me tell you that Agrobeswa Ifianapa, he was an economist. He was given a work as the head of the economic management team. Take the State of the Nation's address of the president from 2017 to 2022. Every year, he would acknowledge Dr. Bawumia as the head of the economic management team, as the brain behind the economy. He cannot be running away from responsibility. But if you can imagine Napo as head of the economic management team in a meeting when he gets angry, he can just throw the water away. He would throw the water, boot everybody. But Napo is the one who goes to campaign. He's asked the question, he gets angry, then he drops the mics and walks away. Or you don't know Napo.
Campaign?
Oh, you haven't seen that video? You
Which
can't
campaign?
Even believe it.
I haven't seen the video.
I know.
He's done that.
I will find it. You can't even believe it. Napo is the energy minister that was told that we have doom so. Can you help us with the timetable and say, go and do your own timetable? As head of the economic management.
By the time you were forcing doom so on him.
We were forcing doom so or we were experiencing doom so?
92.
Were we forcing? He told us that go and do your own timetable. If it's not the same Napo. Let me ask you, in all these, since Napo became, give me one policy you've heard him say on the campaign. Apart from dancing to Sisifia.
No, he say
Napo is like when you pray that may God not use your family to destroy you. That kind of prayer. Because
but Otunfo said he trained him.
You see, that's why Otunfo had to caution him. Because my mother doesn't have to tell others that she trained me. By associating with me, they have to say that, hey, what do you right. I don't have to say, hey, me.
But he says the MPP is Nyamina, the party, MPP.
See, a person who says his kin is no kin at all. A person who says I was raised well and speaks so loosely. I think that in our political discourse, no presidential candidates, whether as flag bearer.
So you don't think that Napo is qualified to be vice president?
No, he doesn't have the temperament and the emotional intelligence.
Are you writing off the MPP in this election?
No. As for Napo, he doesn't. You see, Dr. Bawumia doesn't have the political will. The man who says if he solves every problem today, what would he solve tomorrow when America is even solving problems, should tell you his psychology. That when he comes, he cannot do most of the things.
He said he will cancel betting tax, e-levy, all of those ones.
As for Dr. Bawumia, on that note, he was received.
By who?
You know the consultants who were helping Ruto, who made Ruto distance himself.
The South African president?
Yes. No, the Kenyan.
The Kenyan, yes.
They were consulting for him. So in the beginning, they told him, distance yourself from your president. So for everything Anado has done bad, e-levy and everything, he says, I would cancel it because that's the consultant. Now the other consultant is saying, no. You cannot distance yourself. You must use the Kamala strategy because Kamala preached continuity and she lost. So now they don't know whether they should distance themselves or preach continuity.
Finally, if I ask you what is Nanado's legacy, what would you say it is?
The statute.
The statue?
Yeah, that's his legacy.
At the Western region?
Yes.
That's Nanado's legacy?
Yes.
You don't see free SHS? You don't see one district, one factory, one village, one dam, planting for food and jobs?
That's in those ones.
Free dialysis?
Free SHS. Nanado had the golden opportunity to leave that behind as a legacy. and he destroyed a very beautiful policy. And they want to blackmail everybody that don't talk about the excesses. When they even lie about the figures, don't talk about it, because when you talk about this, it means that you don't like it. I want to tell Ghanaians that give President John Mahama the opportunity, and you will see how free SHS will be made better. You will see how in record times e-blocks will be constructed in the existing schools to abolish the double track. The NDC has done some before. When President Kufuor introduced the 4-year term, in a space of 6 months, we built classroom blocks in every secondary school in Ghana. We will give the kids better meal. We will dialogue with their parents, and we will make sure that we are churning out the right product for the Ghanaian market. And so don't let anybody blackmail you into free SHS. It does not solve the unemployment situation today. When we were going to school, we were paying 400 cedis and 600 cedis as school fees. Today, you need 4,000, 5,000 to let your ward go to school. When the general economic condition is bad, what would be a social intervention will come back to haunt you. So give the political party that is promising you a better economic environment and still make this policy better. When it comes to education, in concluding, the NDC's legacy of Get Fund, nobody has been able to beat it. The NDC eliminated 2,035 schools under trees. When you check the UNESCO and the data, we were spending the required budget or GDP ratio and education. And President Mahama's West, even without the boarding school free SHS, was better than Nanado, because you know why? Our lives should matter to politicians. And you and I hold the key to making sure that the MPP does not get 12 years in power. They have not shown what they have done in 8 years, and certainly don't give them 12 years, because the EIU has said that they tipped the NDC to win the 2024 election. But if the MPP wins, there will be a civil unrest. That is the EIU. Okay. Yes, I can share the report with you.
Thank you. No, we are not sharing anything. Thank you, Beatrice Annan.
So we have a duty to resist and reject the MPP.
You have only one vote.
Yes, and all of us have one vote. And all the collection of those is what will constitute the 18 million plus. So don't let anybody deceive you. Go out on 7 December and vote. When you vote, help everybody to preserve the will of the people, because we are tired of the MPP.
Okay. Beatrice Annan is deputy spokesperson for the Mahama campaign. Thank you very much. She has not drunk the water we gave her.
I actually drank some.
We have overstayed